So in this video, we'll be discussing leishmaniasis. So basically, leishmania is a hemoflagellate. Remember, leishmania, desert mania. So desert, what is there? Sand. So sandfly transmits it. So hemoflagellates means that they are flagellated protozoa. Okay, as you can see here, all of them have flagella. They are flagellated protozoa that are found in the peripheral blood circulation. And both of these hemoflagellates, leishmania and trypanosoma, are transmitted by bite of an insect vector. So insect bite, then it transmits these flagellates into the peripheral circulation. Okay, so they're hemoflagellates. So basically there are various morphological forms of flagellates. So first you have the amastigote form. Okay, so you have the kinetoplast here and the axoneme. The axoneme gives rise to your flagella. Okay, and then in the promastigote form, basically it is spindle shaped. You have the nucleus here, you have the kinetoplast, and the axoneme again gives rise to the flagella. And here epimastigote means above the axoneme. So what do you have? Kinetoplast. Kinetoplast gives rise to the flagella, and the flagella has an undulating membrane. And finally the trypomastigote, again it is the axoneme which gives rise, but this time, though it is spindle shaped, the kinetoplast is in front of the axoneme. Okay, so that is what happens. So only in epimastigote form you have the kinetoplast giving rise to the flagellum. Okay, so basically in leishmania, amastigote and promastigote forms are seen, these two forms. So amastigote forms are the diagnostic forms that are found in man. So in blood you can see these rounded cells easily, right? So they're diagnostic forms that are found in man. And promastigotes are the infective stages to man. They're found in the insect vector. Okay, promastigotes are found. So pro means first, right? First or front. So promastigotes, they're first infecting it. Then amastigotes, they're being found in the blood. In trypanosoma, you see the next two stages, epimastigote and trypomastigote. Trypomastigote is both the diagnostic and the infective stage. But epimastigotes are also found in the infective vector. Okay. Moving on to leishmaniasis, it is caused by an obligatory intracellular protozoa of the genus Leishmania. It is intracellular because it enters into the macrophages, and you can see several spots in the macrophages which are diagnostic. Okay, you can see amastigote spots. So that is why you know it is obligatory intracellular protozoa of the genus Leishmania. It primarily affects the reticuloendothelial system of the host. Okay, so vector, bite of the female sandfly vector. Okay, desert. So what are the clinical forms? You have visceral leishmaniasis, you have post-Kala-Azar dermal leishmaniasis or PKDL, and then cutaneous forms such as cutaneous leishmaniasis and mucocutaneous leishmaniasis. Okay. So leishmaniasis, the leishmania has two subgenera. You can remember it as Viennese leishmania. So leishmania and leishmania viennea or viennea. So basically you have two types of leishmaniasis. Conventionally you can divide them into old world and new world leishmaniasis. So old world leishmaniasis comprises of the leishmania donovani complex, which has both donovani and infantum, as well as the tropica complex. So leishmania donovani, you can remember it by the mnemonic do both in infants. So do for donovani, infants for infantum, and both means they both of them cause VL and PKDL. And LL tropica complex causes CL. Okay, tropical, you have more colors in their culture, so causes cutaneous leishmaniasis, CL. The New World leishmaniasis, it is seen in Central and South America, whereas Old World is seen in Asia and Africa and less frequently in Europe. So New World leishmaniasis, you have Chagas disease. So South America, obviously it causes VL and CL. Okay, C, Chagas, CL, and L again for VL. And Mexicana, it again causes CL. Okay, and finally Viennea brasiliensis complex, it causes MCL and CL, mucocutaneous and cutaneous. All the New World leishmaniasis, they cause CL. Okay, cutaneous. New World is always related with the skin. Okay, now moving on to visceral leishmaniasis, it is mainly caused by the old world species L. donovani and L. infantum. Both of them comprise the L. donovani complex, and also by the new world species L. chagasi. Okay, so L. donovani is the most common species that causes visceral leishmaniasis. It is found in India and Africa. It is named after Sir William Leishman and Sir Donovan. So what are the various forms of visceral leishmaniasis? So you have Old World and New World ones. Old World ones, you have Leishmania donovani, which causes Indian visceral leishmaniasis and African visceral leishmaniasis. Infantile is caused by infantum. Okay, all of the Old World visceral leishmaniasis are their vector is phlebotomous. So Indians, they like to go to Argentina nowadays. So Argents go to Argentina. So Argentipes, Indians. And visceral leishmaniasis, it is Martini. James Bond goes to Africa and drinks a martini, right? So Martini and Orientalis. And perniciosis, in infants you see pernicious anemia maybe, so perniciosis. So epidemiology, Indian is found in India, infantile is found in Central Asia, just outside India, and then African is found in African countries, and Mediterranean VL, you can see it in Central and South America. So ages affected, all are adults except infantile VN and Mediterranean ones, which you see in children. Okay, moving on to the various forms of visceral leishmaniasis again. So what are the reservoirs? So Indians, it is human. Infantiles, it is canine. So it's already infecting the children, right? So it doesn't want to become the reservoir. It doesn't want them to be the reservoir also. It's showing some pity on the children, so it is becoming a reservoir in canines. Okay, and then African VL, both anthropontic and anthroponotic and zoonotic. And Mediterranean, again zoonotic, because both are affecting the children, they are having zoonotic reservoirs. So PKDL is more common in Indian and Africans and less common in infantile and new world leishmaniasis, but lymph node involvement is more common and aggravated by poor nutrition in children in infantile visceral leishmaniasis. Moving on to the epidemiology, it is endemic in 97 countries. Most of them are developing countries of tropical and temperate regions, and about 50 to 90,000 new cases of VL occur worldwide each year. Most are from 3 regions. So Southeast Asia, you have India, Bangladesh and Nepal. East Africa, you have Ethiopia, Sudan and Kenya, and you have Brazil also from South America. And moving on to the epidemiology of VL, India is one of the worst affected countries. In 2019, about 3,000 approximately cases of VL and 800 cases of PKDL were reported from India with nil death. Maximum cases are from Bihar and Jharkhand. So as you can see here, this is the life cycle of Leishmania donovani. So basically what happens is the sandfly bites the man. Man and other hosts acquire infection from the bite of the female sandfly. Then after biting the person, the promastigotes are discharged into the skin. So the sandfly discharges promastigotes into the skin, which are the infective forms. Promastigotes in the blood, they in the skin macrophages, in the skin macrophages, see, it is discharging promastigotes infective form into the skin. In the skin macrophages, it is transforming into amastigotes. Amastigotes enter the blood because they are spherical, they are easier to enter and be diagnosed in the blood. So they enter the circulation, invade the reticuloendothelial system, and then are released into the blood. And then, so first they enter the circulation, then reticuloendothelial system, and then into the blood. And then again, sandfly takes up amastigotes while feeding on infected hosts. In the sandfly's gut, the amastigotes transform into promastigotes again, and the promastigotes migrate to the foregut, and it can transmit it from the its foregut when it bites. Moving on to the pathogenicity. So the phagocytosis of promastigotes is facilitated by the binding of its surface antigens GP53, glycoprotein 53 and LPG to specific receptors on macrophages. So this is a macrophage which has certain specific receptors, and this is the promastigote which has certain surface antigens GP53 and LPG which bind to this, and finally it is phagocytosed into the macrophage. So LPG, so you can P for prevention and L for lysosomal attack. So it prevents phagosome maturation and protects the parasite against hydrolytic enzymes secreted from the phagolysosome. Okay. And pathogenicity, you have GPI, so glycosyl phosphatidylinositol. So it is a major surface protein on amastigotes, helps in protecting from phagolysosomal attack inside the macrophage. So both of these prevent lysosomal attack of the macrophage. Then host immune response. So depending on the host's immune response, Th1 or T helper 2, amastigotes are either killed or allowed to multiply inside the macrophages. So Th1 response, what happens is if Th1 cells are activated, there is cell-mediated immune response. Interferon gamma is secreted, which activates the macrophages, which kill the amastigotes. So Th1 response is observed in cutaneous leishmaniasis. So all the New World examples in patients after recovery are treated for VL. whereas Th2 cell activation leads to a humoral response in which there is increase in secretion of interleukins 4 and 10. So IL-4 and 10, they cause polyclonal B cell activation, which results in hypergammaglobulinemia. It is observed in patients developing active VL and in diffuse CL. So what are the clinical features? So visceral leishmaniasis is also called Kala Azar, a Hindi term meaning black fever. The incubation period is 2 to 6 months. The hallmark of visceral leishmaniasis is a pentad. So while writing VL, how do you write it? V, right? So V is the Roman number of 5, right? So it's a pentad of fever, progressive weight loss, and then visceral leishmaniasis. V, we know it's a pentad. So L for liver and spleen, so hepatosplenomegaly, pancytopenia, and obviously hypergammaglobulinemia because of the Th2 helper cell response due to increased IL-4 and IL-10, which leads to polyclonal B cell activation culminating in hypergammaglobulinemia. Next, what are the clinical features? Again, you have the pentad, and other than the pentad, you have lymphadenopathy because it is attacking the reticuloendothelial system first before it enters into the blood, the A mastigotes. So because of that, you again have pedal edema and ascites. Other than that, you have hyperpigmentation, Kala Azar, okay, Kala. So you have everything else from the pentad. So here you can see in visceral leishmaniasis, first near the mouth region, you have certain minute ulcers that ulcers are not seen. You have certain minute things that are being formed, and then it spreads to the trunk. Okay. So non-ulcerative lesions in PKDL, post-Kala Azar, dermal leishmaniasis, they are non-ulcerative lesions. The discontinuity of the epithelium is not being disrupted, it's just erupting. It is not disrupted. So non-ulcerative lesions of the skin occurs in 2 to 50% of patients of VL following treatment with antimonials. So you call it an ulcer when there is discontinuity in the epithelium. There is no discontinuity. There is only an extension, okay? So it is a non-ulcerative lesion following treatment with antimonials. So it is aggravated by exposure to sunlight. So that is why you mainly see it in India and East African countries. And it develops as a hypopigmented macule near the mouth, which spreads to the face, arms and trunk, and finally becomes nodules resembling leprosy. And you can also see ocular lesions in some patients like conjunctivitis and uveitis, and sometimes PKDL may directly occur in subclinical patients without a history of Kala Azar or visceral leishmaniasis. Diagnosis: how do you diagnose? You detect A mastigotes in the nodular lesions and by serological tests such as direct agglutination test or antibodies to the RK39 antigen. How do you remember this? So while writing the glycoprotein, it was GP63, right? So write that once, GP63. Okay, G kind of looks like how you would write a 9, right? So 3, then add the G here, 9. So RK39 antigen. Next, PKDL in the Indian subcontinent occurs in 2 to 20% of VL cases, usually after 2 to 10 years, and persists for long periods, and it can affect any age group. Amphotericin B is the drug of choice. Liposomally administered amphotericin B is the drug of choice, which is given for 4 months. And leishmaniasis with HIV co-infection, it is seen in southern Europe, especially where in countries where promiscuity is common, so France, Italy, Spain and Portugal. So 50 to 75% of VL patients are HIV positive, and 7 to 17% of HIV infected people with fever have A mastigotes. It is also reported from other places like Africa, Brazil and India, and in India especially Bihar and the sub-Himalayan belt. So both HIV and leishmania affect each other's pathogenesis. So what does leishmania do to HIV? It causes activation of latent HIV, and it expresses high level of chemokine receptor CCR5 on macrophages. How does HIV affect leishmania? It causes activation of Th2 cells response, leading to disease progression. So leishmaniasis with HIV co-infection, what are the clinical features? So apart from the classic pentad, you have other forms such as CL, MCL, PKDL and atypical presentation with chronic diarrhea and pleural effusion, which you can observe. Diagnosis again by antibody detection test, but this time it is negative. Antibodies are negative. A mastigotes are demonstrated from unusual sites such as buffy coat region of the blood. Alright, because HIV is a sexually transmitted disease that also is transmitted through blood transfusion, right? So blood, buffy coat region of blood, you can see A mastigotes this time from an unusual site. So microscopy, you can detect LD bodies, which are macrophages filled with A mastigote forms. So if this is a macrophage, you can see many A mastigote forms here. Okay, so that is an LD body. You can detect that by GM sustaining. and otherwise you have splenomegaly, so splenic aspiration, hepatomegaly, so liver biopsy, reticular endothelial system or affected, so lymphadenopathy, lymph node aspiration, peripheral blood smear in HIV infected people, and bone marrow aspiration, which is most commonly preferred. Okay, and then moving on to the laboratory diagnosis. So culture, it detects promastigotes because you're directly taking the sample and you're looking at it, means you get amastigotes, but if you're culturing it, you get promastigotes. You can use NNN medium and Schneider's liquid medium because you're taking blood. Okay, and then antibody detection, you can use ELISA, IFA, and indirect immunofluorescence assay, and direct agglutination test. You can use ICT using RK39 or RK16 antigens. RK39 is useful. Okay, ELISA and direct agglutination as well. So here it is a smear showing promastigote forms. Okay, in genes as staining, NNN medium. Okay, and then this is a direct agglutination test. So other laboratory diagnoses, they include antigen detection. So basically you have glycoprotein 63, right? So if there are too many leishmanial organisms in your body, you urinate them. So when they pass out through the urine, you can detect these glycoproteins or carbohydrate antigens in the urine via latex agglutination test. Molecular method is obviously PCR and real-time PCR, detecting specific kinetoplast mitochondrial DNA. And Leishmanin test or Montenegro test, it indicates good cell-mediated immunity. It is positive in all stages except active VL and diffuse CL. Then animal inoculation, you can choose the animal, which is the golden hamster. Deserts, the sand is brown or golden, so golden hamster. Non-specific tests, obviously in the pentide you have hypergamma-globulinemia, so you can use Napier's aldehyde test and Chopra's antimony test to detect the hypergamma-globulinemia. How do you remember it? Na gamma, so Na for Napier's aldehyde test, and aldehyde, the functional group is CHO, so CHO, Chopra's antimony test, and pancytopenia by complete blood count. And what is the treatment of visceral leishmaniasis? So you can use pentavalent antimonials, liposomal amphotericin B, miltefosine, and paromomycin. Some pentavalent antimonials were the drug of choice in India, and they were widely used in the past for several decades, but they are not used in India anymore. They are of least preference because resistance has emerged. It is only now used in regions where resistance has not developed. So dosage, pentavalent, so penta is 5, right? So anti is 4, so 5 into 4, 20 mg per kg day per day, IM or IV for 30 days. Mechanism of action, it is converted to its active trivalent form in the body, so it induces oxidative stress in the parasite. Resistance to antimonials is seen in Bihar, India. Then liposomal amphotericin B is a current drug of choice in leishmaniasis, especially in areas where resistance has been reported. So liposomal amphotericin B. B is the second letter in the English language. So then after 2 you have 3 to 5, right? So 3 to 5 mg per kg per daily dose by IV infusion for 3 to 5 days, up to a total infusion of 15 mg per kg. Mechanism of action, it acts by disrupting the cell membrane by forming pores. Okay. Next, miltefosine, it is 150 mg per day orally for 1 month. A mechanism of action is by interacting with lipids, inhibiting cytochrome C oxidase, and resistance is rare, but it is reported from India and Nepal. And paromomycin, it is an aminoglycoside antibiotic with anti-leishmanial activity. It is given as IM 15 mg per kg per day for 21 days. In immunotherapy, you can use interferon gamma in antimonial resistant and in selected relapse cases from Kenya, Brazil, and India. So what is the WHO recommendation in the Indian subcontinent? There has been resistance reported against pentavalent antimonials, so that is of least preference in India. So what do you give? Liposomal amphotericin B. And you can combine liposomal amphotericin B with miltefosine and paromomycin. And then otherwise you can give miltefosine plus paromomycin, and then finally you can give MP and finally pentavalent antimonials. In East Africa and Yemen, you can use pentavalent antimonials, but again in the Mediterranean basin in Central Asia, where India is located, which is near to India, so you have liposomal amphotericin B of high priority. Prevention of visceral leishmaniasis, you have national vector-borne disease control programs, so vaccine trials and control measures. So this NVBDCP is a national program in India which works for the control of 6 common vector-borne diseases in India. It has launched accelerated plan for Kala Azar elimination in 2017. So what is the target for elimination? It is to reduce the annual incidence of Kala Azar to less than 1 per 10,000 populations at the block PHC level. The blocks are classified into 4 categories based on annual incidence of Kala Azar, and each category has a specific action plan aiming towards Kala Azar elimination. So you have categories 1, 2, 3 and 4. So less greater than 1 case per 10,000 population in high in transmission areas. So reducing that is the first category. Second category is blocking it in areas to less than 1 per 10,000 population. So 0.8 to 1 less than 1 in areas with borderline endemicity. And then you have fluctuation blocks, and finally silent blocks, areas reporting nil cases. Currently, no vaccine is available for the prevention of leishmaniasis. However, several trials are ongoing, and personal prophylaxis by using insect repellents or bed nests is useful to prevent sandfly infection. Phlebotomist does not fly high above the ground level, so it is nocturnal in habitat. So sleeping at top floors can also prevent transmission. Early treatment of all cases, mainly anthroponotic and PKDL cases, and control of canine or rodent reservoirs.